Welcome all. Welcome to the first HBio webinar for 2022. My name is Tamatiki, and for anyone who doesn't know me, I'm part of the Hellenic Biocluster team. The Hellenic somebody, I would really ask you to mute yourselves. We don't actually have to listen to you. We're listening to someone. Perfect. Okay. The Hellenic Biocluster, as I was saying, the Hellenic Biocluster is the first and the largest cluster of life sciences, health and biotech here in Greece. We currently have more than 70 members from both the industry and academia. And we started last year in 2021 to run a series of webinars every 4 to 6 weeks for all our members and partners across our network, on topics that are of interest, on our members presenting to each other, trying to actually build up the connections, answer similar questions that we all have, and of course, get to know each other. So we are starting the 2022 series on a topic that is much asked for all of us. Everybody is looking for new ways to find new pathways of accessing innovation funding, and of course that's something that we all discuss and we all in need, so it's great. Just before we start, and we've got, and I present to you our panel of exceptional speakers for this afternoon, just to let you know that the session is recorded, so if you would like, you can turn off your camera now if you don't want to be seen. It's only for our records, so keep that in mind. And of course, we want this to be an interactive session, so please do share your questions through the chat box, where we'll be actually looking through and obviously asking our panelists. So without further ado, I would like to present today's panelists. So we are very fortunate to have with us Harila Ogini from Diestia and Aristoteli Hadjioannou from InnoAgora Applications, both members, long-standing members of and supporters of the Hellenic Biocluster. And of course, our invited guests, Konstantinos Kalogerakos, Panagiotis Papageorgiou, and Evangelos Karagiannakos from the Hellenic Development Bank. So to get the ball rolling and start the session, I would like to ask Hari from Diestia to share a few of, to share Diestia's journey, the successes, of course, the failures, because I personally believe they are more important in some cases, and of course, the way that you've reached where you are now, to share with everyone so we can actually start the discussion. Thank you, Hari.
Thank you, Stamatiki. Thank you for organizing this. Thank you all for your contribution. I will share my screen and show you a few slides to demonstrate where we are and what we may need in terms of assistance in order to obtain funding. So I don't know if I managed to share this already. I think I did. So a few words about Diestia. Diestia is a technology company. We work for the optics of the human eye, and we do diagnostic devices and intraocular implants. It sounds diverse as a field, but basically it is all boils down to measuring the optics of the human eye and modifying the optics of the human eye. We do design, development, prototyping. We help organize clinical studies. We contribute to IP protection in some cases, and we have also helped with regulatory issues in the sense that we have consulted other companies how to set up their manufacturing and their quality systems to conform with the required standards. And I want to show you a few examples of activity to showcase our capabilities, and then I will go to the funding. This example is a system, some technology that we developed with the university in Spain, where we have been using simple optics to measure the macular pigment in the human eye. Macular pigment is a carotenoid, is an indicator of image quality of health of the eye. It is nutrition based, and we know it is known in the literature that it reflects the health of the eye in general. So we recently acquired that patent from the university, and we are in the middle of sub-licensing this patent to a manufacturer of food supplements in the United States. We are developing the hardware and helping them transition to a large-scale manufacturer. Another activity is that we design intraocular lenses. Intraocular lenses are the lenses that go into the eye after cataract surgery. When the surgeon removes your crystalline lens, which is defunct, then they implant one of those lenses. And this is a huge market because everybody gets cataract eventually. And this is a 100 to 1,000 euros implant that pertains to everybody twice, because we have two eyes. And then what we have been doing as persons and as a company is that we have helped design some of these lenses. We follow the guidelines by the corresponding standards. And we have two different intraocular lenses that are now in the market that we have helped with the research and development and the design. We have one lens in clinical trials, and we have one other implant similar to IOL technology, which is also in clinical trials. We do specific testing to help manufacturers optimize the polishing methodologies in their manufacturing and their quality of their implants. We also do devices to test IOLs inside the eye, and this is an example of one manufacturer for whom we partially developed the optical design of the lens and implanted these lenses for clinical studies. They commissioned to us an instrument to validate the performance of the lens in vivo. So we went all the way from concept to simulation, design, mechanical design, was optical design, mechanical design, electronics, software. We prototyped this and we put it in a clinic in Latin America, and then we developed the software for it. We managed to pull this off in a few months. This was a very big project and very hard work from our side, but we managed to pull off a prototype device for a specific lens, and we are now helping the manufacturer to identify how the lens is working in the human eye. This is an interesting point. This is the Estia here. The user is in Mexico. This is a team viewer screen of a patient in Mexico with this lens in the eye, and we are sensing how the lens is working and helping the manufacturer improve the performance. So this is what we have been doing. We are a diverse team in the sense that we have people from material science, optics, physics, engineering. We all have long experience in IP, of course, technology, optical design, ophthalmology, and similar devices. And the question is this the time for a product under the Estia logo, under the Estia, for our own product, the best lens ever from the Estia, or the best instrument ever? Because we have worked for some of the best, and we could have one very novel lens or one very novel diagnostic device for lenses or for ophthalmology. And we have frequently been in that temptation to quit the R&D services, because at the moment we are a research and development services company, and focus on one product under our brand, and pursue that all the way from the design concept to market development to marketing. And what we need in that is a help and we think that the HBio and can be of importance in that step, is we need assistance in identify what is the most suitable product to select for such an endeavor, and help us identify all the steps, not the technological or the clinical or the scientific steps, but also the steps associated to marketing, to the valuation of this product before we enter such an activity. So this was my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention. I will be happy to take questions later.
Thank you, Harry. So let me recap what you just said. So you're a new company who basically provides services, and you sort of generate income through partnerships and service offering to partners and the
exactly. And this is something we have been doing for many years as persons, but very recently we formed a company. We joined forces with other people in the field, and now we are in the position to undertake much more complicated projects like the one I just described. So the question is, do we stay a services company, or do we want to invest time and effort in one of the products? Because we have worked for some of the best lenses out there, for some of the best diagnostic devices out there. We know how these things are done. And the question is it time to invest our time and concentrate our efforts in creating a revolutionary product like one of the ones we have helped put into the market?
And therefore changing your business model. Bailey from INEOS, what about your journey? What's your business model? Where did you start and where are you at the moment?
Actually, I would say that despite being active in a different area, our journey has many similarities, or I would say even more that the challenges that we face at the moment are very, very similar. So it's the trade-off between the service and the product. It is something that is also put very, very heavily from our investors. So we are one of the companies that had the privilege to receive the VC funding, and we are thankful for that. But this does not mean that it comes without an overhead. So I mean, when you have that, and also this is also a message to other companies who are at this phase or who are seeking this sort of support. So this becomes one of the critical issues on how you will move. Everybody, I would say, would like to devote its effort to develop a product-driven approach, because the scaling of the company, the scale up is much easier in this way, but it takes lots of time. And in my understanding, it's very, very difficult to define a product without, at least in the beginning, having a chain of services that will help this product to be ushered in the market. So probably I could also share some of the slides that describe briefly what we do, and then we can discuss more. So, okay, probably I should go from this point. Sorry. To put it on the slideshow. Okay. So our emphasis, we are emphasizing in the area of we are aiming to exploit all this wide range of omic technologies in a translational context. So we emphasize to help the procedure from moving from the bench to the clinic. And we are primarily aiming for precision medicine applications. So when we are talking about precision medicine, we speak about, oh, sorry. Okay. Precision medicine primarily aims to classify patients' response to treatments by unearthing the complexity of the genetic background and streamlining it. So in a nutshell, what precision medicine would deliver is a personalized plan of treatment for every patient according to her genetic background. The problem with the precision medicine despite its great promises, there are difficulties in the implementation, and the biggest difficulty is that each automation and its development that exists at a certain level of maturation of a technology creates challenges in the downstream changes. So we have reached a point where we have largely automated the procedure of DNA extraction, the sequencing, and even the primary analysis. But technically, we are coming to the point where the interpretation of this, all this information that it is exponentially accumulated, really is stalling. And that creates a huge bottleneck that needs urgently to be addressed. Speaking about intelligence, and probably all of our audience are quite familiar with the concept of artificial intelligence. In the case of biology, but I would say that in many different fields of application, goes abreast with knowledge. So otherwise, the conclusions that could be drawn through the application of artificial intelligence could be extremely prone to all sorts of methodological errors. So our approach is that we need to apply artificial intelligence methods in the corpus of knowledge, that are collected and are relevant to different aspects of biological phenomena or mechanisms that we investigate. And just as a strong caveat, we should have in mind that many of the impressive achievements of deep learning simply amount to some simplistic curve fitting. So from the mathematical standpoint, they represent mere regressions. And the impact of that in practice means, actually it's very, very nicely illustrated in this image that you see, where we can easily correlate everything to everything, but and there is nothing wrong with that, but the problem is if we promote these correlations to conceptual association. So that would mean that our camera could be modeled or could be understood by any automated system to be some sort of strange animal which has the face of a dog and probably the feathers of a peacock and I don't know, whatever else. So this really stresses the need for very, very cautious application of the artificial intelligence in real life and in many, many scientific sectors. So our approach has to do with the application of artificial intelligence in the semantic space that describes biological and biomedical phenomena. And that means that we combine advanced statistics with machine learning, but on bodies of previously accumulated biological knowledge. And in this way, we can identify and we can deconvolute also important biological mechanisms, and we can prioritize critical biomarkers which regulate these mechanisms. So that means that then essentially biological complexity is distilled on compact signatures which retain all the critical information and actually filter out the noise. The areas of applications are diverse, and they include oncology, drug development, diagnostics, research, and health monitoring. And our line of customers are pharma or biotech companies or groups, clinics, genomic core facilities, or even research groups in different fields of biomedicine. Regarding this problematic that we developed about the trade-off between service and products, we have resulted in two products that, of course, they are support a more detailed panel of services. And so the first one has to do with the exploitation of our technology in the field of oncology in order to deliver precision oncology solutions, which start with the intelligent analysis of the clinical omic data that could be become available to the patient through biopsies, or which can be tumor biopsies or liquid biopsies. And one can perform different types of omic analysis to the exomes, to the RNAs that are expressed by a tumor, or to combinations of them. And the emphasis is that is given to the intelligent analysis of this omic complexity and the smart pharmacogenetic profiling of the tumors. The other product that could be interesting for companies that develop clinical trials, but also for companies that develop new drugs. And in the context of drug, we should also have in mind the drug repurposing concept. We can deliver a solution where we can stratify the cohorts of people that would participate in a clinical trial, and in that sense, we can tailor them to the parts of the to this strata of patients that should receive the appropriate combination of drugs. And this is something important because in that way we can, from the regulatory standpoint, we can reach success rates that allow the continuation of the clinical trial to the next stages. And of course, in the end, the approval of a drug. So we have started as a startup together with Eleftherios, and at that moment, back in 2013, it was in the midst of the Great Greek Depression. It was then at that time Ioannis Balavanis. He has stepped back, but during this journey, we were able to attract several talented people. I would have to say that our effort was a spin-off. So our startup came out as the fruit of many years of research in the academic field. And I would say that developing company was actually something that promoted also the quality of our research. So it didn't go the other way around, but it was actually the fact that establishing an institution like a company, which provides several levels of flexibility, was something that in the end proved virtues also for the quality of our scientific research. And I would say that this can be easily reflected to the publications that we have generated through the years. These are some selected publications, and there are also publications that are linked with international patents that we have developed with some of our partners. And this was a well-thought approach. And I adopted this approach because we think that it is a nice strategy for companies that are coming from the margin of Europe, which means that they really need to take very, very proper decisions in the type of, let's say, exposure that we'll have in various types of risk. But also, we think that creating patents together with our partners is a nice step in the concept of open innovation. And as you will also see, our scientific excellence and this proclivity is also reflected to the grants that we have received as a company. And with that, I would say that there are, if anybody would like to learn something more, he can visit our site, and of course the links to several publications and technical papers that we have created. So thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Aristoteli. So you are a spin-off that was created, or it was developed or formulated 10 years ago, 2013. Did I remember that correctly?
Exactly, yes.
So surely being a spin-off in 2013, or starting that process of coming off the university and creating your own business entity, had difficulties. And I'm assuming that these difficulties, hopefully with the new, obviously with the new law being passed, and the new, obviously now that the state is actually supporting the creation of spin-offs, so hopefully that will be easier, a lot easier from now on. But do you want to share with us some of the challenges that you found along the way of actually trying to combine the academia with the business, being an entity of the university, coming from the university, and how hard was it, or how easy was it? Was it easy or hard? I'm assuming it was hard, but I don't want to preempt your response.
Well, I would say that, first of all, problems is not always a discouraging factor. It can become a differentiating factor. So probably, I believe that some sort of problems should be, let's say, discovered and integrated in the differentiation process, so as to act as sheaves that differentiate what is good and worthy from what is, the first approach on a problem. Well, in that sense, I would say that many of the problems that we faced helped us think a lot and find probably smarter solutions than the first idea that we would have in mind. But speaking more seriously, I would say that a big problem that we faced at that period was the lack of any type of regulation. So the landscape from the regulatory perspective and the laws was pretty barren. There was this willingness to create something, and I think that this was something that inspired us, but also inspired several other stakeholders, and there were critical masses in the research centers. Actually, I should have to say that we are coming from a research center in order to make a distinction with the universities. It's not that universities are not, actually, I would consider them as ideal fields in order to develop startups, but also they need much more the support, the regulatory support. And the regulatory support has to do, on the one hand, on the legal framework, but also on the identification of the players who will be able to, let's say, digest all the rules that the legal framework creates, and they will materialize them to concrete actions. So this is something that is more or less important for all the field. We need that both in the research centers and the universities. I think that this is one of the very, very good things that is happening these days, because this new law about the spin-offs and the startups provides some backing to the effort or to the motivation of several researchers to develop such ventures. And the other very, very big problem is the mentality. I think that in the way that things are working in Greece, and this is not something that has to do with our education. Partly it could be the thing, but we are not so easy to incorporate risk in our routine. So to say it in a nutshell, we are risk repellers rather than risk takers. And this includes also the banking institutions. So I think that this is something that we should also do several steps. And what we really need, I believe that biology is a very, very good because it gives a very nice example of the evolutionary procedures. So the critical thing about evolution is the differentiation. So we really need to develop new qualities in this procedure, and that includes all companies, researchers, but definitely those who sponsor this effort, and so that means investors too.
Well, it's you said you talked about risk. Obviously, I think that's what differentiates Europe versus America. In the USA, there is a lot of innovation funding. Everything is in working with a more accelerated, sort of in a more accelerated way. And I think the difference, apart from actually the availability of the funds, is the risk taking. And it's good that we have with us the Hellenic Development Bank, because they can sort of comment on that. I think Konstantinos is ready to present to us a great initiative that the Development Bank has when it comes to connecting and actually making the ecosystem tighter and sort of open the dialogue between all the stakeholders. But the rest of the team will talk to us a little bit about hopefully new tools that they have to maybe increase the risk taking and invest in biotech and health. So
just a last comment, if I may, sure. Is that in my opinion, and after all these years, I understand that risk taking means practically it translates to risk sharing. But this sort of sharing is established on the foundation of prior knowledge. So if there is good knowledge on the field, then somebody can undertake risk and can invest on the, let's say, on the promises and on the expectations, rather than emphasizing on the dangers.
My feeling is that the ecosystem is actually a lot more mature now than it was, let's say, for example, 5 years ago when I first came to Greece. So I think we're ready to take the risk now, but I'll just pass it on to Konstantino and see what he has to say.
Yeah, thank you, Stamatiki, for this opportunity. First of all, we are very, very glad as HTB to be presented here and co-organize this event with HBio. Myself, Kostas Kalogerakis, Panagiotis Papageorgiou, and Vangelis Karagiannakos. We represent HTB, and just a quick intro on HTB. We are ex-ETEAN, for those who know. We are providing guarantees and loans, leveraging EU funding and covering financing gaps in the market. So we're not a typical commercial bank. We are under the Ministry of Development and Investments. In the past 1-2 years, there's a huge restructuring effort in the bank to be modernized and, I'll get aligned with all the development banks of abroad, on the international level. So we have been in contact a lot with BPI France, that are our strategic partners, let's say, in many things. And right now, as innovation unit, we are working a lot on providing non-financial support. Of course, we will talk also on the financial support, but I will start with the non-financial support where we are working on, and we are actually trying to create bundles of these two things that we think that they're both very, very important for every SME at every stage, from the initial stage up to the growth stage. There is always a room for creating opportunities for networking, for business development, and we think HBio in this particular sector is a great partner, building capacity, building business development opportunities. So we would like to work together in order first to craft the right financial tools, but also to co-develop and provide this kind of networking and matchmaking opportunity. So I'm just gonna share my screen for the first part of very short introduction of InnoAgora, and just to give you an overview. Some of you might know if you are already in, but I'm just going to provide also some tips. So for InnoAgora, what we've done with EuroEquity, the platform of BPI France, it's basically a very mature platform by BPI France. They has been developed 10 years ago, since 10 years, and brings together enterprises, investors, and support mechanisms. So it creates all these matchmaking and business development opportunities between these three actors in various, across many sectors. Of course, there are the investors, but it's not only about fundraising. So it's an enabling platform, and we found that it has the right level of maturity. So we, as HDB, created a community inside this platform. Think of it like a LinkedIn page or a Facebook page inside EuroEquity, where we would like to create the Greek, let's say, ecosystem inside EuroEquity that we will bridge with the various ecosystems and the other communities inside EuroEquity that are there and they exist and they are working in parallel. So we think there is a lot of value added. So there is already more than 17,000 companies and more than 2,600 investors. So there is a lots of collaborations that can be done already. They have around €500 million has been raised so far. And we will provide a further activation from as InnoAgora on top of the current and already content that EuroEquity has. So someone can leverage on not only InnoAgora but also EuroEquity existing capacity. We have, so there's a lot of benefits for every kind of member. For you, for the enterprises that are present in this webinar, of course you can find potential investors, you can seek, you can find business opportunities, you can network with all these players and participate in webinars, pitching events, matchmaking events. So there is definitely something that you would like to follow. Just to give you an idea, we have crafted a first calendar of events. It's just a draft where we have put in every month a couple of dates where we can meet and under certain with a certain theme. We have from like InnoAgora talks, like the one that we are now, and we will have investment days, matchmaking days, and some onboarding days on the new members and educating on the platform and the opportunities inside the platform. So we're sure that we will cover many interesting parts of for every company, and of course we can have some tailored content at some stage. Right now, sorry, for the next 2-3 months, we have an investing day. So we have opened the call, and whoever would like, every company that would like to pitch in to investors and VCs, we are organizing this e-pitching event end of next month. So we are open to receive pitches up until the end of this month. And we will have a couple of other events on data science and patents, which I'm sure it's into your interest also in March. So I think this is the main part of InnoAgora. I don't know, you can always ask. We are open to clarify, to answer to your questions, and there is a whole team behind this community working on the community activation. And of course, we are ready here to help and support you. And just I will give you just very quickly couple of if you are already in Agora, and just to give you just an idea, one tip is to complete your company profile very well. So it matters a lot to have a very well structured and full company profile, and especially when you create your profile, to choose the option looking for partners and investors, because this is how you will manage to get searched and get connected with with investors and so on. And the other important thing is to look for opportunities yourself. So it's not think about it like you have a registry, a CRM, a business development database, where you can actually get in, as you can see here, the actual numbers from Eurocity. There is a flag of who's looking for investors, who's looking to invest, who's looking for business partners. So you can actually reach out if you dedicate, let's say, half an hour per week, use it as a tool, as a business development tool to find opportunities. There are many events happening. So if you subscribe to other communities, there are 36 communities at the moment, you can find very interesting events and other webinars and other e-pitching events. And we're just, as HDB, we would like to enrich this content and this network that has been created. And actually, this is something that has been endorsed and is actually will be fully scaled inside EU for the European, let's say, innovation network. They will use Eurocity much more and in the years to follow. So we think that we are very well positioned to grasp this opportunity in the next years and have a very dynamic community already built up. And of course, this we really believe in the dynamism of a life science sector, and the growth opportunities for Greece as HDB. And we have started building also financial tools, and of course, so Panagiotis will tell us more about it in the next session. And yeah, I think it's we have an open communication channel through HBio, and it's not only about this webinar. Let's keep in touch. Let's exchange views on how to better craft these new financing tools. And I think there's always a win-win in this kind of relationships, and we are definitely into this partnership, which we will sign. We will also sign an MOU with HBio. We have to stress that it's not only, of course, it's not only about signing an MOU. It's about the actual work that we will do together. And yeah, join InnoAgora if you haven't. You can join the HDB community, and we will be happy to get in touch, to be in touch. Panagiotis, if you would like to tell us a bit more about Innovation Loan.
Yep. Thank you very much. It's really nice to be here. Thank you again, Stamatiki and HBio, for hosting us here. It's a true pleasure. We know that we have been following you, trying to promote the contribution of the Greek healthcare sector to the global scene, and we know what you can do, and is much appreciated. Listening to the dear fellows Aristotelis and Harilaos, Haris and Aris, for their concerns concerning which role the Greek financial system may play to their endeavors and to satisfy their needs. It may be also more prominent to put in a discussion first, before I speak and conclude with the product, Vangelis Karagiannakos, who is the head of strategy, in order to explain what HDB can do. But before that, I want to stress one point again that Aris mentioned in his presentation and his needs. He said that in order to proceed further, it would be wise to sit on a table and talk to the right people who can understand and have knowledge or acquire knowledge on my subject. And this was the instance that I have to put on the table a little storytelling, because every panel must have a storytelling. So this is an instance when I met Aris without even knowing that he's doing this kind of thing 5 or 6 years ago. I mean, it was at that time was I was serving one of the big 4 banks, and we've been trying to invest on a startup on the health, on the biohealth sector. And we sat on a table listening to a very nice exercise in a business plan, promising good results on a case, mixing words like biomarkers, proteins, RNAs, macroRNAs, prognosis, diagnosis, and treatment, which are, most of them are Greek words. Most of the time, I mean, you on the financial sector, you can only have, let's say, a high school knowledge or a semi, second round of your life knowledge, but you never dealt with it. So we had to find an expert in order to sit down on the same table with these guys. Aris can remember the story. And we just called the National Research Institution where Aris was serving, and I think he still serves with this another hat that Aris wears. And we asked his kind attendance to a meeting where the company experts we were just about to invest, and Aris, we sit down on the table, and we as the bank representatives having the money, okay, we sit down and see whether there is a jargon, a common jargon that these two parts can share, and we can see their eyes blinking or not blinking, and whatever, faces they could exchange in order to understand whether this new element of business venture would be worthwhile to invest on. And then we've seen that the project went fine. We started to understand what kind of importance biomarkers play to our lives. We started getting to know what means generation sequencing. We started talking about the words ending to omics, genomics. And we found out by fiddling around with the sector a bit more in the bioinformatics field that the potential of the personalized medicine is, to be transformed into clinical practice has been the subject of many decades in the past. So we know that there is a bottleneck. We know that everything has to to be financed in order to affect better on a project basis the patient's life, and the social aspect of the venture is quite augmented behind a business venture or just a business exercise. So if you permit me, I will pass the stage to Vangelis Karagiannakos to fuel you with a little bit more information. And I don't know if Vangelis wants to share a screen or not, but Vangelis, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much. Hello to everybody. My name is Vangelis Karagiannakos. I'm the head of strategy here in Hellenic Development Bank. I would need to use the screen, Costa. Thank you. My role here is to introduce who is the Hellenic Development Bank, what is its history, what is its vision and mission, and briefly introduce our existing financial programs that are operational here in the market, discuss a little bit about financing needs and problems Greek enterprises have relating to access to finance, and afterwards Panagiotis will conclude with our new scheme that is, we hope that it will cover part of this financing gap. So please allow me. Now, I will be short and quick. We are the National Promotion Institution. We are duly authorized to provide leverage in the Greek market. We're 100% owned by the Hellenic Republic. And our mission, what we do is to promote access to finance and to facilitate the transformations for sustainable development. We are managers of funds that are entrusted to us either by the European Union or by the state budget. Our mission, as I said, is to facilitate access to finance for Greece enterprises and to create value for our shareholders. And our main vision is to become the key development institution here in Greece and to support the needs of all Greek enterprises. We are operational from 2003 with a former name called Ταμείο Εγκυοδοσίας Μικρών και Πολύ Μικρών Επιχειρήσεων, TEMPME. Perhaps some of you are familiar, and we transformed in 2011 to ETEAN, as Konstantinos said. For the last decade, this is our evolution of contribution to the Greek market. This is the number and value of loans we have approved. The pandemic of COVID for all development institutions worldwide boosted their activity and enlarged their balance sheets because we operate sometimes counter-cyclical, and we have to support the economy when in need, and this is our main role. What we have achieved in the past 1.5 years, we decreased our product time to market to almost 3 months. We have approved more than 34,000 new loans of more than 8.5 billion euro. We succeeded in the expansion of bankable enterprises, which most of them are small enterprises, more than 93%. We succeeded in the credit growth in the Greek banking sector after 11 years. We had a share of more than 40% of 2020 loans that were dispersed through our programs, and for the first half of 2021, this ratio is down to 28%. we helped created more than 5,000 new jobs with only one of our financial instruments. And we did an impact study of how our financing supported the Greek economy. And it turned out that with every euro we disbursed through our programs, GDP increases by 2. And that amounted almost to 6 billion euro. And we supported more than 237,000 jobs domestically and worldwide along the value chain, the supply chain of each company. Just as a measure, when COVID started, a study by Oliver Wyman said that the financing demand in the Greek market was about around 17 to 21 billion euro, and we could support and cover only 3.5 to 5 billion. We succeeded in supplying 8 billion euros in that time. These are numbers for until September. We had a huge boost. And the impact analysis. What instruments do we have? We have 3 types of financial instruments. We have co-financing products, senior loans and mezzanine loans. We provide guarantees either in a capped portfolio basis or uncapped portfolio basis. And we add sometimes to these products interest subsidies or grants. So we blend the financial instruments to achieve a better absorption and to benefit for the SMEs. What we did in 2021, we launched 5 products in the Greek market, some generalistic and some thematic or regional focused. Those products had a total loan budget of almost 1 billion. They're all active right now in the market, and I will briefly highlight some of their features because some of them are related to the activity here of your enterprises. Please pardon the Greek title. I wanted to keep it because that's how they're known here in the Greek market. So this is a guarantee fund for enterprises. It's a capped guarantee fund. It supports very small enterprises with working capital up to 250,000 euros for the loan amount and for a term of up to 5 years. The guarantee rate is up to 80%. And the benefit for the enterprise is that the collaterals required by the banking systems are very much reduced. And if they're tangible, it's only up to 20% of the amount of the loan. The enterprises that are eligible to apply for such a financing are newly established enterprises or either existing. If they're existing, their turnover in 2001 should be under 1 million euro. The program is active until June because it's under the temporary framework of state aid. This is a co-financing scheme called Ταμείο Επιχειρηματικότητας, the second round. Co-financing loans are loans that part of the capital of the loan is provided by this fund. And because it's provided with zero interest rate, the final interest rate of the loan is very much decreased. This is for investment loans for enterprises that are either existing or newly established based on a business plan that they provide to the financial institution that is our partner for loans from 25,000 euros to up to 1.5 million euros and up to 10 years for repayment. The state aid regime is de minimis, and it's active until October 2023. if someone is operating in West Macedonia, we have a focused program for enterprises that register there. It's for working capital needs only, co-financing loan with an additional benefit of an interest rate subsidy for 2 years if they retain their headcount for loans up to 50,000 euros. Perhaps some of you have heard a guarantee fund called TMEDE. If any of you are registering under this NASA codes, and you have a public purpose contract for a project or a study, you can benefit from this financing which is for working capital, and it's up to 200,000 euros for 5 years. We guarantee 80% on each loan, and the collaterals required for tangible collaterals are up to 40% of the loan amount. This is again until June. This is an audiovisual guarantee fund targeted to enterprises that operate in either the production or distribution of movies or series, but also for the gaming industry, for enterprises that want to be engaged in creating and distributing a game. For investment loans and working capital, up to 900,000 euros and up to 10 years of repayment. The benefit here is that if the loan is under 50,000 euros, we require for the bank to not take any tangible collaterals. And if the loan amount is above 50,000 euros, we set a limit to those tangible collaterals up to 50%. As Costa said, our strategy is to provide financing and non-financial instrument support. We have started this activity this autumn by InnoAgora, which was presented earlier. And we will mostly invest in this through our innovation unit, which Mr. Papageorgiou and Ms. Kalogerakis are heading. And this is in a nutshell for me. Takis now will present a new financial instrument that we are launching in a short time period that is mostly targeted to innovative enterprises. But
thank you. Right, thank you, Vangelis, very much. As you pretty got by now, the picture of what we do is what Aris and his colleague were referring to by a need of the risk sharing. HDB's risk sharing, exactly. I mean, it is the link in the financial system between the small medium enterprise or the small cap or the mid cap, the startup company and the bank, assuming that part of the business risk that the banks does not assume. Okay, so we provide guarantees, we share risk, we provide subsidies, co-financing, and that doesn't mean that we don't leave the company, the enterprise, away from investing their own funds and their own time and energy on the exercise. Now, I will follow with the risk sharing with your permission, Stamatikis. Right. Can you see my screen, please? Yep. All right. So before we continue on that, I mean, whatever we do talk about financing has to go hand by hand with the non-financing activities, as Costa said. In this exercise, this innovation loan, it is a loan trying to cover the competitiveness and the extroversy needs of Greek innovative companies. We don't want you to go to every detail on the screen, but the product beneficiaries here, as I move my mouse here, is startups, small, medium companies, and innovative enterprises. They have quite easy eligibility criteria based mainly on how innovative it is your business plan, and some other European programs, financing programs, European tools as Innofin. These are the same entry criteria, and you can use that to enter the program. Or if you're a company registered on the Elevate Greece register, you're automatically eligible for get this product. We go here just on the far right bottom on the page, which says that this program is basically a loan, a guarantee loan, combining a grant. Okay, so you're just beginning to present your business plan, and you can have an approval on your business plan, and you have the HDB guarantee. Okay, and the loan is totally guaranteed and has a grace period. Okay, until that time, you are meant to invest the amounts that you are required to your business idea, to your business brochure, and in either developing a new innovative product, or in a process, or a new marketing technique. Okay, and then by the end of this grace period, which may be by 1 year or 3 years, then the bank has to measure you in order to give you a bonus. So they will say to you, we do have some conditions to offer you a capital rebate, and then you will continue repaying your loan by receiving this capital rebate by just repaying less. How much is the capital rebate? Okay, so this is a combination of a guarantee loan and a grant, offering benefits, bonus in terms of sharing risk, giving the advantages of when we guarantee the loan. That means you do have a lower interest rate, and the banks will ask you for mainly for less collaterals. Okay, and then we come up and say, okay guys, now you fulfill your plan, let's see if you're eligible to get a bonus. And let's go on the next screen to see how it works. You can get clockwise, please, from 12 o'clock, maximum loan amount. You can get up to 400,000 euros. The total amount of money we will disperse to the market is 120 million. The loan purpose is investment plan. That doesn't mean that doesn't cover working capital. It does cover working capital and fixed assets, based on supporting documents, of course. VAT is eligible. What we offer to the banks is a guarantee rate of 80%. On the bank's portfolio, this is an internal calculation, is 40% on the total portfolio. That's again is a risk-sharing instrument. And what we do offer is this bonus, the grant rate capital rebate. We offer a 20% total capital rebate. That means that if you will receive the approval for getting 400,000, you will repay, if you're eligible to get this total amount of 20% capital rebate, 320,000. Okay, the rest, it is non-repayable money, is a bonus to you. So you receive 400 max, okay, you repay 320. Okay, and but you do have to meet some innovation criteria, which we will discuss a little bit further down, and some ESG criteria. ESG is environmental, social, and governance. This is a notion that for the first time is fueled in the Greek banking system as a criteria of offering lending, because the European community requires to adhere to this kind of policies in the future, which increase the sustainability of your businesses in general. It's either you are a startup company or a small, medium company or a large corporate, you have to play by the same rules, okay? And that's why we try to fuel this kind of awareness criteria in this financial tool. Moving clockwise, loan duration is up to 10 years. The grace period, it is maximum 3 years with minimum 1 year. That means that if you are an ICT company that you want to offer a business plan with innovative product or service, you will not consume 3 years grace period, because if you don't do your product within 1 year, or if you don't offer your software within 1 year, then you will become obsolete. Changes are very drastic in this market. Some things may be similar to the biohealth sector. It's your business. The guarantee commission fee is none for the businesses, so it's another privilege that you do have for this project, because of what we do. We leave for a management fee, and that doesn't hit our clients. That doesn't hit the bank's clients on this product. And the banks may ask you up to 40% of the loan value as a collateral that you can see. It's according to your personal status and your company status. That means that if your company is credit worthy or not, or you as a business person can offer the credentials to receive a grace just to a certain amount of percentage of the loan value. And we expect this project to be launched by the end of March. So when full speed, as Mr. Karagiannakos said, we brought down the time to launch phase and timing for our bank to 3 months. So we're just steaming on this product. By the way, this will be good news for all the sectors, because it's not something focused on the biohealth sector. Okay, so any innovative company having any innovative proposition then can apply for this loan. Going a little bit further, trying to explain how you will meet and what is requested from you if you request this kind of loan to meet innovation criteria in order to get a grant. You can get a 15% grant rate. So everything starts on how innovative you are, based on some innovation criteria. If you're not meeting this innovation criteria, then you cannot be entitled to receive or to ask for the next 5% for the ESG criteria. So the entry point to get your bonus, let's say, capital rebate, is if you meet innovation criteria, and mainly just if you practice what you preach. So if you say, for example, on the left-hand side, if you can prove that your expenditures in research and innovation are at least the 20% of your total operating cost over the past 3 years of your grace period, okay, then you are eligible to get this 15% capital rebate, or it's either or. For this 3 years grace period, to your innovation expenditures, okay, for your business plan are equal or more than the 20% of the loan you received. Okay, so it's either or. If you can meet this kind of criteria, you get 15%. And then you can request, then you can ask to get another 5% simultaneously, because the bank, by meeting your the end of your grace period, will come and ask you to prove that you're meeting at the same time the innovation and the ESG criteria. Okay, so the ESG criteria, we do have 3 buckets. Okay, environmental criteria, social criteria, and governance criteria, which is very clear. And you have to meet 3 criteria from at least 2 out of the 3 buckets. Okay, so you can, and very easily targets to be met: a reduction on energy consumption, very easily proven, okay, or the increased percentage of renewable energy sources compared to the total energy consumption. So it's either or here. And social criteria, you understand how much importance European Union, Greek society, and society gives to the presence of female employees, okay, in businesses and in top management positions. So you can score the existence of the increase of the female employees on the management positions, or a second criteria will be increase in the number of employees in general, which is a normal criterion asked to be met during all the stated subsidy programs, stated support programs in the past. Everybody knows that if you want to get some bonus points, some grants from ESPA, as we call it, you had to prove that it's either you maintain or increase your personnel. And another crucial point that both of our colleagues mentioned is the importance in employee training. So if you can prove that you invest in employee training more than the previous year, then you meet this kind of criteria. And then governance, it's something that we do have all in mind, and we know how to play the game very well. It's you follow corporate governance rules or not, and data security policies. You cannot live without them. You cannot live without them. And the last but not least, important for us, at least in order to fuel this kind of ESG criteria awareness, is the existence of customer satisfaction surveys. Okay. Because that comes to the discussion that our friend from the optical industry was trying to ask is what is important on deciding whether it is time or not to start building a product. And then I'll come back to that. You know, customer satisfaction surveys and time to market and marketing and business plan and targeting, they're very important. So this is all about the maximum loan portfolio, 120 million, we will be fueling to the market. That means that they will be fueled on a first come, first serve basis. The 4 largest banks, they have offered a quite big interest in absorbing this kind of money and fuel them to their clients. And also some smaller banks also. I mean, we don't have too many banks anymore. And to remind you, what we give, what we offer as HDB is an 80% guarantee, 20% capital rebate. That means that we will have to make sure internally, but this is our number, okay, that we do have the 62 million to share with the banks if something goes wrong, okay? That means risk sharing. And all of this, they do belong to the stated de minimis, which of course has some ceiling of state aid or aid money that you can absorb from this kind of exercises. If I may continue, Stamatiki, and refer to the 2 main questions that, from my side at least, that our colleagues posed in the beginning. Again, the first question, if I remember well, was whether it is a right time to market and introduce a new product. Okay. Our experience, and I'm not talking only about myself, but perhaps this can be shared by Vangelis and Kostas, but I will say it very quickly, is not only the innovation on the product that makes the essence for the successful course of the business. If you don't have a right attitude on the market, if you don't if you haven't settled the rules and the areas on where to pilot test your product, or how to present the proof of concept, how to find the first difficulties in bargaining with the legal departments of your clients in order to see whether you can have a POC on the premises and accept you to do so, you know what I mean? Then these are kind of business issues that can delay your exercise. So it's not a matter of having the right product, whether you do have the intuition and the innovation, is the whole business attitude. Marketing plays a tremendous role. We have seen many attempts of fantastic product innovations to be an absolute failure because in the team, it is an absence of a marketing guy and a good manager. So this is a question that will be raised on any table on such investments. And yeah, I mean, this is a point that I want to make, just to refer to the first question that our colleague did. And I may stop here. If somebody wants to add or ask questions, please feel free.
Thank you. I think the question with Harry, it's the question from Harry, who sends his apologies because he had to go. Is a recurrent question that comes back to us. As you understand in the field, and this is sort of will lead to my question to Costa. What happens is, well, to all of you actually, what happens is sometimes, you know, we are a group, let's say a team of scientists. We've got a great idea. We know that we can actually bring a very innovative service or product to our patients or to the market for their well-being, the health, the diagnosis, the better therapies, of society. And obviously having a great team is very important, and that's why that there has been I think Panagiotis just mentioned that having a team is great, but sometimes we need mentoring. Our teams need mentoring, and I suppose that's where HBio steps in, because it can actually provide that role of not necessarily guiding people when to launch or what to launch, but more about how to go about it. Because as you understand, that's the knowledge that we're missing. And perhaps this is something that HBio together with the bank can develop and can guide people and can monitor, mentor people on when to take the next step, what the next step is for us. The other interesting, obviously the innovation loan sounds great because it gives you an incentive back, and it gives you, a rebate on your loan. So that's a good start. But I think it's quite important to actually understand the sectors. So when you're having innovation criteria to judge, the success of a biotech company, or a company that comes from the medtech, the medical devices, or the life sciences, the innovation criteria have to be slightly different to, let's say, a tech company, which has a very different way of operating, and the timelines are very different. So have you considered these? Like, are you tailoring your innovation criteria according to the sector? That's my first question.
Yep. If I may start replying, and then perhaps Vangelis and Kostas can continue, is not a sectorial approach, because don't forget that we don't give, we don't distribute funds directly to clients. What we do is that we are the intermediary trying to get the risks from the banks and serve our clients with the end product. That means that the banks will have to be in a position to accept something which is non-sectorial in order to do the business on a wide acceptance basis, and in order to have some criteria that they will be easy to monitor and check, and then get back and return this grant to their customers. Because if the banks will have to sit down on the desks, back office, can you understand now the situation in real time, okay? And if Stamatiki comes with sector A and the Kostas comes with the sector B, and I'm the only one credit person that has to do the job and have to calculate and recalculate different kind of things, then the cost, the internal cost of the bank is augmenting in a dramatic way. And the running of the business will make this product on my first clients, which are the banks, you know what I mean, in order to distribute it, quite unpleasant to serve it. So we have to find an indicator which is good for the banks and good for the companies. For the companies, it is good because all the companies, now we go into the client side. All these clients, all the exercise with InnoFin product that has been fueled in the market in the past, offered us the experience that this kind of metrics are very easily to be followed by innovative companies, because an innovative company in any sector will try to fuel the majority of their funds while they try to develop the product. That means that during the first, second, or third year of their exercise, then they will sit down and try to commercialize the product. So product development, product idea, product development, research, this is what you want to fund. Okay, so the KPI of trying to have all your expenditures geared towards your grace period of the loan, it is real. That happens. That's how the innovative companies work.
And Taki, maybe we can have some direct feedback here from their experience. What's the percentage of R&D in their operating expenses? Because this is, as Taki says, a generic threshold that is cross-sector. It's not, of course, health specific, but we assume that specifically this sector has much more, right? Aris, I think you're nodding yes.
Yes, exactly. I would say, especially for a small or for startups at the first steps, I think the vast majority of their costs are R&D dependent. So I mean, this is not an issue.
This is not an issue. Yeah.
I think that firstly, I have to say that this is definitely an interesting instrument. I mean, there are it could be very, very useful for several companies. I think one of the points that could minimize its use is probably from the side of the banks, the lack of, let's say, of good experts in the field of understanding the market, because it's actually what SMEs also need. So we have, from my experience, I have to say that especially in the biotech sector, what Greece is lacking at the moment are angel investors. So people who have made the success and they are really devoted in, in repeating that, and just as a reward to their community. And this is something I would consider that it is part of your non-financing mission, but you definitely have to find a way to bring closer those people, because these sort of angel investor communities are really very active in other countries. I know that I collaborate a lot with France, and I can see that. Also, I would say that there are angel investors in other sectors, even here in Greece, but not in the biotech field, and this is important. Two technical questions that I would have for the specific instrument is actually what would be the role of de minimis, because you mentioned that you have that an enterprise could take a loan of up to 400,000. But if I remember well, the de minimis limitation is something like 200,000 euros in 3 years. So how these are worked out? By paying out, I mean, the part of the loan, you raise your exposure, and you can probably use a whole loan to the de minimis. So it's something that you could probably help us understand. And one other thing would have to do with the collaterals. Probably, I think that you should think, or the banks should see what are the exact type of collaterals. Because if the collaterals represent, guarantees like houses or something, that can be a problem. If it could be seen something in an equity-based banking approach, I would say that this could be something that could make this sort of loan very, very appealing.
May I? Mr. Hadjianu, I'm Vangelis Karagiannakos. For your last two questions, I will start. For the de minimis amount, there is no direct relationship between the loan amount and the state aid threshold. There is a calculation in guarantee products that's called the gross grant equivalent, that we have to calculate each aid that we provide and map it to this 200,000 threshold. So the guarantee is a type of aid that is considered that we have to adjust it to this gross grant equivalent, and we have to add the grant element, the capital rebate, Mr. Papageorgiou said, as a 20%. Up to now, this was our first attempt in such a financial instrument. This was the easiest way and speediest way to launch it in the market. So yes, we understand that the minimis is a semi-threshold. This is a first attempt, and we will leverage on that. As for other things that you mentioned, having been a credit analyst in the past, I was crunching numbers for business plans. as a credit officer, I was interested in the numbers only. So when an enterprise like yourself, that you have received VC funding, went to the fund manager to present your product and services, you had to present to him something more than numbers. You had to present the prospect and the marketability of your idea. If that's not clearly stated in the business plan, it will not go away. Someone else to fund it. So I think Stamatikis said the correct question is how mentors can support startups to formulate their idea in such a way that people like me that are number crunchers can accept to finance such a risk with the potential in mind. My personal opinion is that COVID pandemic has boosted the industry, because I think biotech and Moderna were such enterprises. I'm just saying they're not only, but it surfaced them, and now it's more easily for someone to accept such a risk. And I do acknowledge that in your business, the risk is higher than in a typical other activity, and perhaps there are more returns, yes, but the success rate is smaller perhaps. And what someone seeks, when someone seeks funding, it has to have a very, very solid proposal business-wise, not product-wise.
Okay, I think the two take-home messages are, one, obviously the announcement about the pitching sessions that Costantino made earlier on. So from memory, it's until the 30th of January, correct, Costa?
31st of January. Yeah, we had already someone interested.
Alexia, yes.
Alexia.
HBio members.
All right.
Don't forget that we do have 2011, I think, members from the biohealth sector in the community, and
they're all pitching.
Out of those, there are 145, I think, asking for investors, and there are 386 out of this 2,000 members that are investors.
That want to invest. You don't have any idea of how much money they want to invest?
Not for 100,000 euros.
Hopefully not for 100,000. Because sometimes I get emails that say, I want to invest in biotech and I can put up to 25,000. What can I do? And it's like, no,
you can do nothing. Yeah,
but they're still willing, and that's great. And keep these people, because maybe we will find a smaller project for them. So I think the important thing is to, until the end of the month, please do send through your pitch deck to innovation. Let me just find the innovation@hdb.gr. And of course, if anyone wants us, HBio, to have a look and help you with your pitch deck, you do know, our members do know that we offer that support, but I'm just putting it out there to the whole group. That's something that we do. And I think the other take-home message is that there are new tools that are coming out. Obviously, HBio is trying to support our members and the ecosystem widely when it comes to biotech, life sciences, health, in any of the next step. They could be, scaling up or trying to have access to funding, or even capacity building. This is something that we do, and that's our role. And of course, through the memorandum of understanding that Costa mentioned before between HBio and the bank, it will intensify the dialogue that we have started already since last year, and then hopefully we can actually be an integral part in decision making, and we can help you when it comes to mentoring or trying to find, you know, ways to assess or support the ecosystem better and you know, serve your aims and of course our aims as well, and for the interest of the ecosystem as a whole. I can't see any other questions, so unless there are any other final comments by anyone, by the panel, anyone? No? Okay, great. So I would like to once again thank all of the participants. It was always great to have this kind of discussions, and thank you for volunteering your time and your knowledge and your shared experience to share them with all of us. If anybody would like to keep in touch with HBio, please do find us. And of course, if you want to be notified about the next HBio webinar, which is in 4 weeks, do send us your email and your interest through at info@hbio.gr, and we hope to see you all again soon. Thank you all.
Right.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for the very nice organization.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.